Classical scholars do hint at the realization of one stag making multiple poses. In his book, Caeretan Hydria, Jaap Hemmelrich recognizes the lively drawing of stags multiple times, and he reminds us of the dynamic nature of Maricha, who shifts from one position to another in his elusive movement away from the hunters. It really is an ingenious way to present the whole myth, in my opinion, in one vase or water jar. You have Rama and Lakshman distracted by the deer on one side, in a place far away from the two characters on the other side, which is side B. And those characters are Ravana and Sita, of course. The author does remark directly in a revealing way that the drawing of stags is lively, and that's the key word. And he says one expects an arrow to be sticking in one of them. And he explicitly says one of them. So that is exactly what we see happening in the Valmiki Ramayana. That's what happens to Maricha, the demon who disguises himself as an attractive stag. Eventually, Rama catches him and kills him. So Hemmelrich also restates the same observation later on in his book, emphasizing the deer's movement. He says the movement of the fleeing animals on number 2 is extremely lively. So this really is a strong indication that the scholars are coming close to realizing the truth, but don't quite have the ability to connect the liveliness of the movement to the dynamic nature of the moving deer, the singular deer, which is Maricha in disguise. So how do the Indian artists depict Maricha's multiple poses and trickery in their painting? Well, this is an example on the right side from Himachal Pradesh, or Chamba painting. And in it, you can see Maricha's two different poses, one on the left and one on the right, on the far right. On the left, Maricha appears before the two nude youths, Rama and Lakshman, and then appears again in his buck form with his head tilted back to look at them on the far right side. The Indian artists thus convey his elusiveness and seductiveness through multiple poses or even heads, which we will see on the next slide. And just to remind you, the demon Ravan is also shown with 10 heads. So they were very fond, the Indian artists were very fond of depicting these demons and depicting their treachery and elusiveness through multiple poses and multiple heads. One example is the two-headed deer sculpture, which you can see in Orissa, the state of Orissa in India, which is a northeastern part of India. And the Indian artists in this state, they employ the magic illusion of two heads to illustrate the golden deer's elusiveness. And so you can see both of these two pictures here. You can clearly see that one of the heads is tilted back to look at the pursuer, and the other is feeding on something to seduce the hunter. And this is from Joanna Williams' book on the two-headed deer in Orissa. There are many characteristics of these extraordinary deers. They are elusive, they are illusory, and also the duplicity is another characteristic. So whether Maricha moves so fast that the hunters see multiple stags or one stag with multiple heads, so either multiple stags or one stag with multiple heads, either way, the result is the same, duplicity. And Joanna Williams has stated very clearly, the two-headed deer catches our eye as an emblem of illusion. What are the implications of this image? The golden deer was part of a trick that enticed Rama away from Sita. to endow it with an extra head is, in the words of living painters, to emphasize that it is no ordinary deer. The two-ness of the heads implies duplicity. And so, yeah, I mean, there's so many characteristics here, but the main thing is that it's a very extraordinary deer, and it's illusory, and it also is duplicitous. And my own comment is that hunters with a bow and arrow do not normally hunt multiple deer at one time, because shooting one arrow after another without stopping, like a gun with bullets, is not possible. So even though there are two hunters wielding a bow and arrow, the three deer we see on the water jar from Caer are the Ionian artist's rendering of the hasty movement of one deer, as it eludes both of them, in my opinion. The turning of the deer's head in the second part of the sequence of fleeing is comparable to what we observe in many Indian paintings depicting that scene. The deer hunt, of Rama hunting Maricha. So the fact that the artist paints the deer 3 times in a moving sequence serves to emphasize the difficulty of the hunter's chase and the extraordinary nature of this particular deer, just as the two-headed deer from Orissa above is no ordinary deer. So just to summarize, whether the artists depict multiple stags or one stag with multiple heads, what they're really trying to depict for us is that the hunters are seeing the Maricha disguised as the golden deer moving so fast that it's like a blur, and that can be they can be depicted with multiple stags moving in a sequence, or one stag with multiple heads, which is what the Indian artists in Orissa chose to do. But they can do it either way, but either way the result is the same: duplicity, the depiction of a duplicitous Rakshas demon disguised as a golden deer.